business, how are you supposed to help others? Bullshit.
Whoa.
Learn how to handle your business. Don't talk to the people who care about you, because you're not a liability to me.
Hell no.
You're my strength. The fact that I can tell you something and you can say, man, I've experienced something similar. You called it being away. I called it the quiet. What did you call it? The unmentionables? And I called it the quiet, the lack of the chaos. The quiet. I'm like, holy shit, the quiet is so friggin' scary. It's like deep space. There's nothing there. There's no sound. And you're like, my brain just keeps running. I can't turn it off. Funny thing is, when you talk and you find out people who go into therapy, most of them go because they had to get help for themselves. Then they started their journey. And then they did it. But a lot of their stuff, when they come to dealing with the stuff we deal with, it's theory. It's written in a book. And so as time and time, because I do through the Code 9, I do crisis intervention now. So I get the call, hey, George, I'm not allowed to talk about department stuff, but they're like, it's in your area. We need you to do crisis intervention. This correctional officer was jumped, and his wife is calling because she doesn't know who to talk to. She doesn't want to talk to the department. He doesn't want him to lose his job. I mean, think about it. You're going fucking nuts and you're worried about losing your job, your home, and everything else. How are you supposed to provide for your family and you can't get help?
Right.
That's fucked up. That's the only thing to say. I don't want to cuss, but
it's a stigma. It's a stigma.
It's a stigma.
If you're asking for help, man.
So she's like, he's screaming, he's yelling, and then I go into the room and he's just like, and I can tell he's wet, but he won't shut down. And he won't talk to anybody. So I finally talked to the guy. I said, look, just listen to me. You don't talk. I told him my story, started talking, mentioned the things. And as I went, he just volunteered. He said, that's what I'm experiencing. That's what's happening. Wait. And he's like, wait, and you're not a therapist? I'm not a therapist, brother. This is because I live this stuff. This is not from a book. This is from blood life experience of where I've been and how I've traveled this journey. I'm sharing it with you.
That's your degree.
Yeah, that's my degree. And I'm still working on it. So one of my favorite, for lack of better terms, memes is that one where it shows the guy is climbing up a mountain. And he says, what do I do when I get to the top? And he bends over and he says, I grab the guy next to me and pull him up. So I'm going to pull as many people up as I can, because there were too often certain deputies came and they're like, hey, George, they pulled me up. People that didn't understand, you know what I mean? Those names that said, I'm not giving up on you when everybody else did. I'm going to call and check up on you. When John texts me, dude, just 2-3 nights ago, I spent the night at his house.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, I haven't heard from the fool because he changed his phone number. Sorry for calling. He probably did. And so I hadn't heard from him in a while. And the day I need, he says, hey, I'm in town and this is my new number. I'm like, no way. I could really use a drink. Just one drink.
That's not gonna happen.
And then he's like, and so next thing I know, he says, dude, you could use a bed. And so the guy cleared off his bed, let me sleep on the bed, and he slept on the couch. That's what you need. That guy next to you. The guy that no matter what, it's like, yeah, I'm here. It's just that simple that, hey, I'm here. Text me, tap up, something, check on me, do something. And we have to do, like I said, to be vulnerable like that is a scary, scary deal. To do those things that you did, to recognize that, hey, it wasn't what I did, it's who I was, and I lost it. But guess what? We're something else. We're better.
And that's why it's so hard for people to comprehend when I say, man, I feel like I'm doing more good now than I ever did as a cop.
Yeah.
Because the tangible, you see that people appreciate it. You're doing it with people you care about, man. And I know we all do this too. If I go 3 days when I'm trying to get a hold of somebody, and if I call number 3, it's not, hey man, are you good? It's, hey mother, I'm gonna show up at your house. And that's usually when I get a call back, because they don't want me paying on the door. Because I will show up, man.
And I told people, as it's for me, as it's progressed, I found it to be even more passionate. Yeah. That the more I do it, the more I want to do it, the more fulfilled I feel. And there's a difference. A lot of people talk about being successful and stuff like that, successful career, successful relationship, all those things. But being truly fulfilled, you know what I mean, is on any level, any part of your life can help propel you in the other ones. The mind, body, spirit, all of it. You have to have those 3 pillars to function and to, like I said. So, but I'm glad you shared your story too, Brian, because you and I ran into the gym a few times, obscurity. And I remember going up, and even myself, a lot of times people say, dude, you just come up like it's no big deal. No, sometimes there's a lot of apprehension. Like, do I talk to him? Do I not? What does he think? Is he one, you know what I mean? Because I heard lots of people were saying I didn't get shot. I found out There are people arguing. I'm like, dude, I got X-rays. I got friggin' 4 bullet holes in me. I'm like, what the hell else? Why do I have to prove
Doctor told
this?
you didn't get shot. Remember that? And you told, oh my
A
God.
doctor did, because they sent me to, they sent you to workers' comps, and this one group, they were supposed to be doing physical therapy. He's like, hey, I'm reading your chart here. It says you have a shoulder injury. I said, no, a shot. No, it says shoulder injury. I'm going to release you back to work because you've been off the month.
That's not the judgment.
Yes. It's just like, I said, dude, what? I have bandages on. I'll take the bandages off. He's not. And we almost got into a fight right there. I was motherfucking him, cussing and yelling. And of course, they're calling the cops. They're like, he's off. He has PTSDs, all these things. I'm like, I'm trying to stick up for myself. I wanted to go back to work. And for somebody to turn and tell you that, you're like, dude, just fucking open the bandages and look, just take the bandages off. You'll see I'm not lying. What the hell's wrong with you?
Do your job.
Right?
As a
And
doctor.
this is what they treat you like. So when you see that it can be as outrageous as that, as what happened to me, that they denied me, this is the thing a lot of people didn't know, they denied me antibiotics. I got a staph infection. It was so bad that when I left that office, I called my attorney. I said, I've been getting sick all the time. Something's wrong. He says, I want you to go to a chiropractor. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? He's one you can go to because of the injury, right? Because it's a workers' comp. You can only go to these doctors. So go to this. I'm like, a chiropractor. What is he going to do? I'm like, really? I got 4 bullet holes. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my shit. I'm breaking out all over the place. I keep getting sick. Something's wrong. He says, go to the chiropractor. I walk in there. Chiropractor, I'll even say his name, John Immersion. He saved my life. Asshole of a guy, love him to death. He saved my life. All those things all in one. I walk in there. He says, come on back here. It had everybody wait. He said, come on through. Everybody's like, what the heck is this? He gets me back there. He has me take off my shirt. And he just says,
boyfriend, that's what it was.
He says, oh, fuck, you're not going anywhere. Don't leave. Yeah. He says, sit down, close the door. He's gone for about 5 minutes. Come back in. He brings in his MD. He had an MD on staff, which I didn't know. Wow. He says, is this what I think it is? He says, you have a MRSA staph infection so bad. He says, have you been getting sick? Yes. He says, are you having all these problems? Yes. I thought it was a breakout like pimples. It was all over my body. It was rash. It was basically, I mean, just everything was like hives everywhere. He says, you're covered in it. He says, basically what's happening is your body's building up toxins. And the last guy we saw like this died in 2 months because his liver and kidney shut down because he couldn't handle it.
Damn, man.
So they put me on an IV there. They said, we're calling, who can we call? You're not driving anymore. That's it. And so he came and he helped me through that process. And then he got me to the right therapy, the right therapist, the right people. It took a long time. It was a long course of action. But God provided those people for me. So I tell people, okay, push comes to shove. You have to be able to get through the medical portion of it as well as the mental portion, and they have to kind of coincide, because if not, you're out of league. My faith was shook, as I just said. My health was down, and I physically couldn't move. So the 3 pillars of who I am now was messed up. So what do?
Embrace it.
Right?
You embrace it.
Embrace it.
Because how do you get stronger without pain, right? I mean, and plus, you'll be surprised we can get through when you don't have a choice. Right? And it's like we said last night, and we've said this before, it's not, life is always it's always gonna win. Mm-hmm. It's like getting in the ring with the boxer. You know how the fight's gonna end, bro.
Right.
You know you're never gonna win that fight. But what you want to do is keep pissing him off. And he's up again. Damn, remember how Paulo got pissed off when Rocky kept standing on him? He's like, damn, snatched his soul, like David Goggins said. Mm-hmm. I love that. He's just shaking his head. And that's how I kind of picture the analogy of life. You got to keep getting back up and piss off whoever's trying to make you suffer, but you get stronger and you help others. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, you spread that, and to me the world becomes a better place, man, because kindness is the one thing we do that's actually physically contagious. If you don't believe me, look it up. Physically contagious. When an act of kindness becomes physically contagious. Did you guys know that? Mm-hmm. I know you did. Did you know that? Wow. Well, why'd you guys tell me, man? Why am I the last one to know? Suckers.
It's the 2 things. Kindness and love is something that you can never run out of.
And love is the hard work. It's not the easy stuff, right? That's it's not 16 Candles, even though, I love that movie. But
It's
Yeah.
a brother's love. It's the love that you experience in other ways, shapes, and form. But it's willing to go that distance for that significant others or whoever that is, your partner. Those things that you have to do. Yeah, it's crazy how this circle has formed. Well, there's other members of the circle. I don't know if you want to mention.
Yeah, absolutely. We miss these guys right now, but they've got some stuff going on. We got Matt. Matt's got some stuff he's got to deal with, and believe me, he wants to be here. I really want him here because I get to make fun of him when he's here. But I just love the guy to death, man. Matt's just that guy. We didn't get to hear some bitch in a long time. That's what he says every other word, but he's just a kind-hearted guy who's built like a brick shit house, man. It's like, but he's so kind-hearted and genuine, man, and we miss him, man. But he called me like borderline in tears because he couldn't be here. Even when I put the text that, hey, we're going to be here today, he calls when he doesn't have to because he wants to be here. But he'll be back probably within a month or so, hopefully. He's just got to deal with some stuff. Brandon, missed that guy too. Man, him and Matt going at it was hilarious to watch, by the way. So we miss you, brother. We miss both of you guys.
Absolutely.
He's got some stuff he's dealing with too, and hopefully he's back sooner than later. Tanner went back to law enforcement, man. They pulled him back, and he's over there. In fact, I called him yesterday, and he's breathing heavy. I go, what are you doing? He goes, PT. I go, voluntary PT. He goes, yeah. I go, you're fucking stupid, man. And he goes, no. He goes, this is on my own. I go, oh, okay. You're working out, basically. I thought he was in there with the cadets, like working out. I'm like, hey, this guy's dedicated, man. But I like hearing today when he texts back. He didn't say, I can't make it. He said, I got priorities. I have things with the family and the wife. And when I hear that, I'm like, it warms my heart, man, because you want to see that.
So it's important to keep that. And it's important that, we keep reaching out, but it is very important that we get the message that people need to try and show up and overcome that anxiety or those thoughts, the process, because that's something it is difficult to overcome. And so how do you do that? Why don't you, Brian, how do you do it? What do you tell yourself? What did you tell yourself today? Because I know without a doubt, I even had some reservations coming here today to do this. Even though I love you guys, there's always that little doubt, the little seed. It's just like sometimes you can't quite strangle it out. Did you have any of that, or what was your process to come today?
I've been wanting to come down to CMAC and just get this thing moving forward to the next level. So I didn't have any, issues about coming down today, but it kind of goes back to what you talked about earlier, the quiet. So when like for me, when it's quiet, that little voice that negative voice starts whispering, and I know we've all had it, whether it's you're not good enough or, people would be better off if you were on a distant planet or whatever. And so for me, I have to keep moving like a shark, right? Because if I sit still, I will suffocate if I don't have the oxygen going through my gills. So, you stay busy and you try to keep that negative voice at bay or stay a couple steps ahead of it because you fall into that rabbit hole. And that rabbit hole goes forever and different directions, and it's like you described it like space. It's deep space, and you're like, where's the surface? So through that, it's just like, I just keep swimming, like Dory would say, just keep swimming. Just keep moving forward.
You couldn't do more manly than that, dude, really. All right, you keep swimming.
Just keep swimming,
I get it.
Put one foot in front of the other. Or some days you're like, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let this win. And, and that's just what I do, right?
And reaching out was so important. Like another thing that I try to do, and I think I took a page out of your book, is I don't make people come to me. If I see or somebody tells me somebody's going through some stuff, I'm on the phone. Mm-hmm. And if they don't pick up, I'm still calling. And if they don't pick up, I'm still calling. And then I threaten to go to their house, and that's, like I said, usually that's when they call me back, right? But there's a more important one, too. If somebody crosses your mind, call.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what happened with you two guys. But the other day blew me away when it was some stupid thought I was having about Oz, and just the word Oz. And I'm like, I'm going to call and give him my number. Yeah. I'm like, I ain't got a life, dude. I'm on my way right now. Where are we going? Bring your wallet, though, right?
Right? I was like, I went inside. I got inside. I did my order, and here he comes. I'm like, yeah, there we go. It was that quick. It was like, just I needed time to process. And sometimes you do. You need that. And just like I said, the simple fact of being there is you don't have to do. So, I'll tell people you don't have to do anything spectacular. You don't have to have an education. You don't have to have everything thought of. The job is not to think things out for another person. It's just to be there, tap up and say, we're going to go through this together because got your back. I'm going to watch your backside. I'm going to help. Whatever you need, I'm going to be there. Whether it's, hey, we need quiet time together. We need to process. You need to get on the phone with me. Whatever the case may be. But again, those stereotypes that are set ahead, especially with people in law enforcement, I'd like to kind of just bring some of that up, if you guys don't mind, is like, why are we not allowed to be a human being? We're not supposed to get mad. We're not supposed to cuss. We're not supposed to... All these things, it's constant control over things that we actually have no control over. And then once you finally need that release, how do you release it? Right? So that's what happens. We get self-medication you talked about, which is including alcohol, drugs, the other things like that, anger management problems. The average person has their first cardiac. I just did the stats on this. I did a presentation for the North Fresno Rotary.
Oh, wow.
The average cardiac in a normal person is 67 years old. Do you know it's 43 for law enforcement? The first cardiac incident. Wow. 43 years old. How young is that? I know we're all over that, right?
Yeah.
The life expectancy after we retire is 5 years. And they're talking about shortening that. When we retire, that's insane to think that, man, you go a career, okay, now we talk about critical incidents. The average for normal people, 3, right? Mm-hmm. It's like 180?
195 for law enforcement. I did the military stats. You know how many it is?
How many?
4.
Wow.
That's average enlisted person. But the one thing about being a cop, right? You don't get to pick to work in the office or be the person that, the military has a bunch of jobs, so I want to make that fair on their part. That doesn't mean that they're special ops or whatever guys didn't see more, but as a whole, our community, we own PTSD, bro.
I was watching this podcast with Jordan Peterson talking about men in general, and they said, is it okay to be a man? And he says, no, it's not okay. It's a necessity. It's a necessity, he says, because these men, and including the women, that go and do these jobs, the people that are building the infrastructure for the people that are the most privileged people, which are the people who are teaching in our colleges and stuff like that, what do they really do? They're teaching something that has already been taught. They're reiterating things that other people's works. They're grading papers. They're getting paid lots of money. They're living in structures that took a man in blue collar to build the building. The guy who's on the PG&E line keeping that power going. The guy who's keeping him safe, and now he's over here telling you need to hate and defund him. And he's protecting your right to be able to say, hey, go defund him and not have somebody do something. That's who they're attacking. They're attacking the infrastructure of what makes us who we are, that keeps the engine running. You don't go up to the mechanic that's having to work on the engine while it's running, just like a doctor, and say, hey, dude, we're going to fucking defund you. Hey, dude, you're a piece of shit because you wear that uniform. You don't know anything about you other than that uniform. You're a racist pig. Get out. We're done with you.
Yeah.
To have a culture do that, and you'd think we would have learned after Vietnam.
No.
but we're repeating it on a level that's unreal. And then in our own culture, we're doing it to each other. That's what gets me.
Did you see the Russian spy that disclosed all this stuff in '84? Soviet Union at the time had a 25 or 30 year plan. Their plan was, and the guy said it, we can never beat you guys when you're united. The only way we're going to beat you is to divide you. And he asked them straight up, why are you going to do that? We're going to be the ones teaching you in universities. We're going to change the way you think. And we're going to turn you against each other. When they hit us at 9/11, what happened?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, they woke up a sleeping giant, man. And they paid for it. They're still paying for it. They don't want to do that ever again, right? But look at what's happening right now.
And it's the opposite. Well, it's the same thing as what I just said. How do you change a culture from within?
Yeah, but that was genius. Our enemies know that.
The sequence of storms. You're either going into a storm, the middle of the storm, you're just coming out of a storm. No matter what, that storm, and that's with anybody in life. It doesn't matter your ethnicity. I always say that word wrong. I speak American. I don't know how to speak English. So, I'm not educated the right way.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And so
We're talking about different cultures and things and backgrounds, okay?
right?
Okay.
So there you go. See, clarified it. So
I clarified it.
Clarified it.
I love this guy.
It's perfect. It works. So when you go through these processes of are you in the storm right now? Are you coming out of one? Or are you going into one? And sometimes those storm hits back to back. But the most important thing I think I found is let's take the time to breathe. And you as a person, if you're going to reach out to a person that's in that, it's trying to get them to delay, to breathe. And you also have to realize, and this is the hardest part, if they go through with it, it's not you. It's not your fault. And I have a really hard time with this because I had a very close friend of mine that was reaching out to me, and she worked at the sheriff's department. I'd kind of warned her. I said, hey, you need to kind of watch what you're doing. You're trying to do things as if you're a veteran and you're not. Slow down or they're not going to pass you. And they didn't. She went back to work with the probation department. And then she started calling me a lot. And at the time, I was in an unhealthy relationship, and the significant other I had was like, I don't want you talking to this person anymore. And they kept reaching out to me, and this is when I learned this is something that I regretted. She kept reaching out. I need to talk. I said, no, stop. You're going to cause me to get a divorce if I don't talk to you. I can't talk to you. Stop, And finally, it was just, that was it. I stopped. I know that I didn't do what happened, but I've heard she did it with another friend of ours because we met her funeral after she committed suicide. You'll go back and you judge yourself. The amount of times I did talk to her, the amount of times I did support her. Matter of fact, I helped put her through the academy. I helped her with uniforms, gave her ammunition, helped pay for her gun. You often think, man, what transpired here? What more could I have done? And the thing is, I think if you can slow people down to get them to breathe, use your analogy of, hey, put it off tomorrow and try and get them to somebody else. You're going to have to hand that baton off. You cannot, that level of when you're at that point is way too much for one person to handle. You can be a support system at the same time. When this person does that, there's the Survivors of Suicide, which is another nonprofit that's great here. Because people often think, well, then I can put more pressure on that person. Say, well, you have to live for this, or you have to live for this person. You have to live for. All you're doing is adding more weight, more expectation.
No. Do something. It's better to do something than nothing. I'd rather do something and feel guilty that I failed than do nothing. So I know you're beating yourself up. I would too. But as messed up as it sounds, you got to embrace that because that story is going to help somebody else. You got to embrace it.
And you got to tell them, as the training I've done with Code 9, they're like, look, you have to be able to get them off to somebody professional.
Yeah.
You cannot hold that in yourself that you have to save it in this one moment. Because the odds are, all you can do is you're trying to get them to delay. You're trying to get them to get to the help.
But what about the people that are watching this? Where can they find you? Where
shoot. So you can actually, if you contact me through Facebook, that's the biggest way to get a hold of me. If you have something to deal with life after the badge, so we can send you an invitation and get you on there. And what that is, like I said, it's a camaraderie base. We're not on the internet. We're in a private group because we're trying to maintain some privacy with that. You can reach me. My name is George Osborne. It's Ozburn, like the wizard and a match. Best way, you can also Google Mr. Fresno, which is my business, which is real estate. That's not to plug the real estate, but sometimes that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. My phone number, my cell phone's on there. You can text me and say, hey, we saw the episode. We want to get in contact with Life After the Badge, or we want to find out more information about Small Step. Any of those type of things, I use that number for everything. I recently spoke at a boxing event where I sponsored and was able to get up in front of the ring. It was the throwdown in No Town. There's about 400 people there. It was a brilliant event put on by the Correctional Officers Union, which is called the Fresno County Public Safety Association.
They do great things, man.
They really do.
Yeah.
And they are reaching out more and more, trying to help people. They're trying to assist with the Code 9 project, but they do a lot of youth sponsorships and stuff like that as well. So any of those things, I'll even put my phone number out here. It's 559-304-4349. That's 559-304-4349. And you can text me if you don't even want to talk. Text me and just say what it is you want to be in contact with, and we can make arrangements to do that. I think it's really important. Like I said, it's more of a passion now to be able to push this and help, because I got asked a while ago, well, what do I get out of it? And I said, could you imagine that you help one person here in this town, and then that one person, or even you, affected a person across the country or somewhere else where they got help or they made the right decision that turned their life around in some way, shape, or form. To me, that is more inspiring, and that is a fulfilled life, so that I left the world somehow better. I know I've done enough stuff in my life that maybe I didn't make it as good as I should have. I've made a ton of mistakes, but to know every now and then, man, I did something right. I benefited somebody else. I benefited this. And so it's a raw emotion for me. So forgive me, because I do get a little
beautiful
something, because like I said, if I could do that one thing, who knows, maybe that person goes to impact and do something even better.
Well, you're going to be back with us again, aren't you?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of forced. I kind of just said I'm going to stalk him, and he's got no choice for now. And I don't know if you guys know this, I can be a pest.
Small one.
Hey, by the way, thanks for CMAC for having us here. You guys are awesome. They provided the building, all the equipment, and training. They're just a great organization. Thank you guys. We can't thank you enough. This is really cool. By the way, if you need to get a hold of us, we absolutely mean what we say when we say we'll answer the call. Reach out if you need something. If you need a friend, you need just to talk. I mean, seriously. I spend a lot of time on the phone with strangers just talking. Just kidding. We really will answer the call. So reach out if you need us. It's Circle of Guardians on Instagram. And also the YouTube page, we're going to release all that stuff. It's actually going to be on this episode. You'll see it in the writing. Thank you guys for joining us today, and welcome to the Circle.